Hello there everybody. Today we are going to recap my second year as a real estate agent at the young age of 22/23 years old. Let's get into it. Alright, if you don't know, my name is Aram. I'm with Remax First. If you haven't noticed, we are in a new office. That's because I have changed brokerages, and that's going to go into my my second year. It goes into the story. So let's get right into it. This is my third take. Not because I messed up, but because for some reason the camera keeps cutting me off. So I'm really hoping to God that this goes through smooth and does not cut me off. So let's get right into it. Let's stop wasting any time. My second year in real estate was defined by a big, fat, thick, juicy L, right? Now you didn't expect that because you thought my second year would be better than my first year, right? Because usually people improve year after year after year, and which is what happened, right? I did sell more in real estate my second year than my first year. I did make more money, but I did take a big, fat, juicy, thick, round, whatever you want to call it, L. And L for me stood for losses. God, so many losses. And lessons. So many lessons. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna keep it month to month, right? That way I have a structure to this. So second year starts around March, right? Come around March, I had two deals. I had a deal for $630,000 on the contract, and I had a listing for $500,000, right? So $500,000. So that's $1.1 something million worth of production right there, already ready to be getting paid for. Well, I didn't notice at the time, but I was gonna lose both those deals. The $630,000 deal, which I negotiated to sell it down $100,000, I was representing the buyer. That deal fell apart due to a slight mistake by the attorney. So that broke my heart, and I lost a $500,000 listing because they were too high on the price. They didn't want to make the proper adjustments, and I felt that it was a waste of time to keep the house on the market if it was overpriced. 3 months later, they came to their senses, priced it right, ended up selling it at the price I suggested. But that's not the point. So first 2-3 months, I'm about $1.1 million negative in terms of production, right? Gone, out the window. This was the first time I've ever lost a deal, right? So I had to learn how to deal with that. Now, I'm really good with dealing with adversity, things like that, because I look at everything like this. Every time something goes wrong, it just made my future book, because I want to write a book one day, more juicier, right? I'm like, ooh, we just added another chapter to the book. So that's how I approach everything, and that's the same way I approach this. I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's still early in the year. We'll pick it back up. Well, in May, we had a closing for $525,000. So we're back in business, ladies and gentlemen. That was a good check. We're moving on, right? But in between April and May, something happened. Now, my entire business up to this point was built on calling expired and for sale by owners, right? Cold calling them, right? So I was really good at cold calling and sales over the phone. And for some reason, I could not bring myself to make a cold call. Towards the end of April, beginning of May, I could not bring myself to call a single human being. It was in fear, I wasn't nervous, I wasn't scared or anything like that like I was at the beginning of my first year. I was just sick and tired, burnt out almost, because I'm calling these people who I know for a fact that I could help. I could make them a lot of money. I could save them a lot of time and a lot of stress, right? But they're giving me all this attitude, right? They're just not vibing. We're just not connecting, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of reaching out to people and pretty much begging for business, right? From now on, I want to be known as the authority. I want people to come to me, right? I want to show so much value that people just automatically think of Aaron when they think real estate, and they come to me when they need help, right? Well, I started looking into other ways that I could get business, because I figured, listen, there's so many agents out there who have never made a cold call in their life, but they're super successful. How did they do it? Right? So I started looking into it, and once you know it, ads start showing up out of nowhere. Aren't you tired of cold calling? Get leads in your mailbox, things like that. So I started going down this rabbit hole, and I ended up purchasing a course for $3,000, right? That teaches you how to market on social media, both paid and organic marketing, how to create videos, sell through video, and all the behind the scenes of Facebook advertising, all that good stuff, right? How to generate your own leads, because I don't want to buy Zillow leads, and I don't want to hire somebody to do the leads for me. I was a firm believer that everything I do I want to learn it myself because that's a skill I can add to my tool belt, right? Lessons, folks. So that $3,000 taught me a lot of lessons. I learned branding, marketing, video content, video editing, social media branding, advertising, all that. I don't know if I said that already, but all that good stuff I learned through that course, right? So I didn't regret taking the course, and this helped me to this day. So come June, we had a closing in May, we had a closing in June, I believe we had a closing in July, another closing in August, right? And between this time, I completely had stopped prospecting. I stopped doing the things that were getting me the business, right? I was 100% geared towards the social media, which is great. But what I didn't know is that the business I was getting at the time was not because of social media. It was because of the work I had done 6 months prior, a year prior, right? That's where I was getting the business from. And I learned that in real estate, a lot of we get rewarded for the work, like the work I do today, I will get rewarded for 6 months to a year from now. A great example, the video I made about my first year recap started blowing up towards the end of my second year, right? Right now we're at 2,800 views. So I'm getting rewarded for it now, even though I made it over a year ago. Isn't that crazy? So that's a lesson I took from it, right? I'm like, crap, because what happened is when those 6 months ended, right, and I completely stopped doing the things that got me to the dance, my business went to the gutter. And my pipeline was empty, so I had to build a brand new pipeline. In essence, I had to reset my career. Imagine doing it 1 year, building momentum, right? Getting everything ready to go, developing the skills needed to, build that kind of business, cutting it off, starting a new business. That's literally what I did. Not the best idea. I should have done both. I should have learned the social media and I kept prospecting, which is what I'm doing now, because the whole point of business is you understand the mistakes you made, you learn from the losses and the lessons, and you adjust. So I have made the adjustment. I'm still doing all the social media, all the branding, all the marketing, but I've also added prospecting, actual prospecting on the phones every single day for 2 hours to my schedule, right? And I stick to that. So where were we? Around August comes around, and this is, I would say end of July, August. I'm starting to look at all my commission checks, because I'm closing a few deals now, I'm making some good money, and I'm looking at my commission checks, and I'm just like, man, why am I giving 40-50% of everything I make away? And we're not talking about taxes. This is pre-taxes. In real estate we have splits with our brokerages. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of, paying this fee. It's just not for me. So I started looking into other brokerages, what really eventually led me to joining Remax First. When I sat down with them to negotiate my split, I had, a few $1 million worth of production. So I was at a better negotiating position. I was able to get a good deal for myself, right? Another lesson came in with the loss. I completely did not realize that I had signed a 2-year agreement with the previous company that if I wanted to leave, I had to buy out my contract for $2,500. That hurts, folks. That hurts, because I made that company about $25,000 that year, right? Because my splits were were 50-50. So I had already paid them like $25,000, and I have to pay them another $2,500. Which is not their fault, that is my fault. Always read what you're gonna sign and think long term. When I signed that paperwork, I was not thinking long term. I was just thinking, get me to work. I don't wanna deal with the contract, I just wanna work. That's what I was thinking, right? So I paid the $2,500. I made all the money back in terms of a higher split here, so everything is good. But that was a loss and a lesson I took from it, right? And that August I closed another deal. September I closed another deal. October I closed another deal. November I had another deal fall apart due to a dog. That was great. And here we are. We're in March, and I have yet, I'll admit it right now, I have not closed a deal since October, right? So it's a drought for me. It's a slump, and I'm trying to figure a way out of this slump. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video now, because I want you guys to see my attitude and how I'm dealing with the situation, right? Because I don't know how to deal with the situation, but I have a figure it out mentality, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure this out, and I want to bring you into this perspective because I understand a lot of you guys are gonna be closer to my shoes than somebody who hits it off their first year and closes 50 deals, 60 deals their second year, 80 deals their third year, right? That's a rare occurrence, but that's a lot of what you see on YouTube. But you don't see a lot of people struggle. I'm struggling, boys and girls. Struggling a little bit. Now, I did close more deals my second year. I did make more money, but I didn't meet my potential, which is what I mean by struggling. And there's been a little bit of a drought the last few months. Reason being, as I mentioned before, all that work that I was doing to build that business that I sold those 6 months, I stopped doing. So the next 6 months, which is what I'm in right now, was a drought, right? And that's a lesson I learned. So never stop prospecting, never stop building relationships, folks. And finally, let me explain what I mean by losses. And I don't necessarily mean like people fired me or anything like that, or people stopped hiring me because I'm less skilled or anything like that. I never had any doubt. But by losses, I mean just things stopped going my way. See, in real estate, sometimes you're going to get lucky. And sometimes you're going to get unlucky and you're going to be tested, right? The point is to stick around, because eventually it will come your way, right? It will go your way. And I stuck around, and it's starting to build up. Right now I have a listing for $900,000, which is the most expensive house I've ever listed. I have 3 buyers I'm working with, and about 2 future deals, right? Just now. And obviously I will get more as time goes by. So by losses, here's what I really mean. Like things outside of my control, right? Circumstances outside of my control led me to not get deals, right? Whether it was somebody reaches out to me, listen, we're gonna list with you as soon as our deal expires. Cool. They end up selling the house 3 days before the expiration mark, right? I'm like, dang it. You know, I was happy for the client because I want them to sell their house. I'm not that greedy. Ultimately, I want them to get what they want. But you know, that's another deal that's lost. I lost a deal fell apart because of, you know, HOA restrictions. You know, we had those 2 deals fall apart in the beginning of the year. And then some in between due to circumstances where somebody gets laid off or they postponed the search, you know, whatever. I thought I was ready, but, you know, give me another 8 months or things like that. So you have to learn to adapt, figure things out, and go from there. So that was my 2nd year. A lot of losses, a lot of lessons, but we're doing better. I have a feeling 3rd year is gonna be a good one. So I can't wait to do the recap for you guys. And I'm motivated. I got a new fire under my ass. I'll admit the 2nd year I got a little bit lazy, but I'm back in my grind. I'm here at, what time is it? It's 8 a.m. right now. I've been trying to make this video for about an hour now. I got here at 6:45. I have some calling to do today and all that good stuff. So let's cut the video short. That's it. You've known everything you need to know. If you have questions for me, if you have a private question, you can DM me on Instagram or follow me there to see the day-to-day. That's RMG Realty. That's it. And if you have comments, please leave them below. Like the video and subscribe. Let me know what else you want to see, what I can help you with. Thank you so much. Have a good one.